1934, an intrepid group looked around and decided that what the world needed was a community for conservative Jews to worship together in Norwalk.
We don't know what they risked or sacrificed to make it happen, but it turns out they were right. This community was exactly what we needed.
Hundreds of people, generations of families, countless friendships have all found their spiritual home here.
Our founders gave us a community of people with whom we worship, raise our children, celebrate, commemorate, mourn, and heal, with each other and thereby with the global Jewish world.
Hi, my family originally joined Bethel in their original location on Cleopatra Avenue in Egypt. We were slaves building the pyramids. The Egyptians were pretty vehement about us not missing any daylight to work on the pyramids, so we weren't allowed to have Saturday morning services, but we were allowed to have Friday night after dark services, which probably explains why to this day I go to Friday night services and not Saturday morning.
My kids would bring the children with us and they'd fall asleep next to you because services started at 8:30. But it was a very, it really was a social event at Friday night after service, because everybody you got to meet the whole congregation.
My brother would be in a suit and a bow tie, and his legs, he was young, his legs didn't fit over the seat yet. They would just stick out in front of him, and he would fall asleep, and we would sit quietly during services, and at the end of services, the rabbi and the cantor would processional down the center steps and up the center aisle.
Betty was in charge of the kitchen, so without her permission, you couldn't go in the kitchen. But she taught me so much. I was, still in my 20s, and I wasn't from the greatest people working in the kitchen, and so I didn't know very much about entertaining or hosting anything. And I came one time to help her set up for whatever function we were having, and I was putting pastries on a dish, and she just said, no, that's not how it goes. And so she taught me how to set up different pastries on a platter so that it looked pretty.
שמעתי שעושים בו מסיבה בלעדיי, אף אחד לא עושה את זה יותר טוב ממני. נשים מנצור מאחוריי, אמנה הולך עד שכולכם משונים. שמעתי שהתחלתם בלעדיי, אף אחד לא עושה את זה יותר טוב ממני. הראש כבר מסתובב כולם בהר.
We lived in Great Falls, Montana, where I was an Air Force pediatrician stationed at Malmstrom Air Force Base. On the base was a young surgeon by the name of David Schwartz. He and his wife Nancy had their first child, a son, born on the base. David's father, Rabbi Samuel Schwartz of Temple Bethel in Norwalk, Connecticut, and his mother Gertrude, new grandparents flew to Montana for the bris, and I was the mohel. And the rabbi said, "Come to Norwalk, use our home and our phone." As you're looking around, the rest is history.
He said, "Steve, would you be president again?" I said, "Well, if you asked me, I guess I would." He asked me again, so I became president again. And it was interesting. It was figuring out how to run a shul at the same time being a full-time radiologist, being, vice chairman and chairman of the Department of Radiology up in Waterbury. And somebody once asked me, "How do you handle it?" And I said, "Well, I have one job where you can get into trouble very easily with sick patients, but down here, nobody dies. So this is an easy job compared to that one."
Leo Nevis was
one of the first people who I spoke to when I became president. He took me out for lunch, which I think was his standard for new presidents. And we got to be friendly, and he was a great benefactor to the shore.
I was in my middle 40s, and I had the great opportunity to work with a lot of the synagogue leadership that was present at that time. I worked with great people like Bill Grossman, Walter Baum, Steve Weitz, Joe and Irma Schachter, Jimmy Shong, and Ed O'Leary. They were great leaders in our temple, and I worked very closely with each one, and it gave me the opportunity to get to know these people a lot more closely than I never ever would have had the opportunity just being a member.
Irma Schachter, who was instrumental. She became the chairman of the building fund when we were renovating. She was a dynamo. She raised everybody who joined had to give to the building fund, and she made sure that everybody did.
The people at Bethel are beyond fabulous and very knowledgeable. As a matter of fact, Dorothy Grimm taught me Hebrew, and I took a Mishnah class with the rabbi for over 6 years, and it's just a very warm and loving place.
I grew up here. I was bar mitzvahed here. I was married here. It's part of my life and a second home. When I came back from college and made my home here in Norwalk, I got married. My wife and I became members.
I only have good feelings for everything that's gone here. I guess one of the most exciting things when Steve started doing the Yom Kippur appeal, how many years now? 25 years?
Year 2000.
Okay, so this will be the 25th. Our grandson was being born premature, and I got a call that we had to come to New York, but we couldn't leave until after Steve gave the appeal, and it was like I was sitting there very nudgy, like, what's more important here?
Speed it up.
Most kids don't say they enjoy Hebrew school. I loved Hebrew school. I'm still friends with my Hebrew school friends. I went to public schools, as actually we all did, but I faced a lot of anti-Semitism. And to me, Bethel was my second home. It was a place where I was accepted, where I was safe, where I could be myself.
It wasn't until Sidney Birnbaum became our teacher, perhaps I was in first grade or second grade, and he came in and he was excellent. Actually gave me a desire to learn more about Jewish history and other Bible lessons. So Sidney Birnbaum was a great influence for me.
Sad times or in happy times, our congregation was always with us, and it was both a joy to celebrate with them and comforting to mourn with them. It's nice to never feel that you're alone.
My father and I would sit in the back of the shul, in the last pew in the rear. And there would be a lot of kibitzing going on during the prayer services. It was always a standing joke. Lenny Schwartz would make believe he's going out to prepare sandwiches for us on Yom Kippur. That was always good for a laugh.
Like Bill Grossman, oh my goodness. He made that minion come alive with the breakfast and the stories, and always complimentary. Marty Wolf also made breakfast for Minion for years.
We arrived when Donald Crane was the rabbi, and the first couple we met that welcomed us with open arms were Shar and Chuck Stabinsky.
These included Rabbi Jonas and Shelley Goldberg, Cantor Deborah Kachko Zimmerman, and then Ron and Leah Fish.
He helped bring Rabbi Fish into our synagogue. In the late 90s, Leo called a meeting of all the past presidents. He said, I'll get you a rabbi. Do you want an Orthodox rabbi? Do you want a conservative rabbi? Do you want a Reconstructionist rabbi? I'll get you a rabbi. And he did. We got Rabbi Fish.
So I'll always remember being in the choir and learning to love to sing with Cantor Kachko Gray. That was a very special time in my youth. Beth El has been and continues to be a very special place for my family.
Third generation. I'm Bob Gordon's granddaughter. I had my Simchat Bat here, I was Bat Mitzvah here, and I've come to Shul before college. I came to Shul very frequently. I would come every Saturday with my Zaidi, and I always remembered coming with him and sitting by him, and I always remembered that he always had his secret pocket with like candy, which was always something I looked forward to. Beth El is community and is family. It's a place that we celebrate together, we mourn together, and we support each other through it all.
Our Jewish community is deeper than friends, bigger than family, older than America, and constantly new and challenging.
We are the fortunate recipients of the gift bequeathed by those long ago forebearers.
And we are the trustees who carry this treasure forward, adding our own wisdom and light, nourishing these precious ideas for future generations.
במצוותיך